The first thing we're going to do is determine if it's a proper fraction or an improper fraction. All right, so if we expand x plus 1, okay, squared, if we multiply it together, okay, x times x, we get x squared, right? So we can see that our leading term is to the power 2, all right? So since it's equal to the power of the leading term in the numerator, right? Since both powers are equal, this is an improper fraction, right? So this is an improper fraction because the power of the denominator is equal to the power for the numerator. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do long division. Okay. So let me continue expanding this expression here so that we can divide. All right, so x times x, that's x squared. X times 1, that's x. Right, then we say 1 times x, that is x again. Right, then 1 times 1, that is 1. Okay, so we get x squared plus 2x plus 1. All right. So we're going to do our long division. So we come to this side, we have x squared plus 2x plus 1. I'm going to divide it by x squared. Okay, we're going to divide it by x squared. So to make our division easier, all right, we'll just put here plus 0x, all right, plus 0. This will help us a lot in our dividing. So whenever we're doing long division of polynomials, all right, 3 steps we have to follow: divide, multiply, and subtract. So what are we going to be dividing? The leading terms. All right, so our leading term is x squared. Our leading term is x squared. So we're going to say x squared divided by x squared. That gives us 1. We're going to put 1 here. So after we divide, we multiply. So we say 1 times x squared. We're going to x squared. Right? 1 times 2x, we're going to get 2x, so it's a plus 2x. Right? And then finally, we're going to say 1 times 1, we get 1. Right? So we're going to subtract now. That's the final step, subtract. Right? So x squared minus x squared, that is 0. 0 minus 2, that gives us negative 2x. Right? Then we have 0 minus 1, and we're going to get 1. All right? So this is our remainder. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to express this, what we found here, on this side. So let me just make some space here. Let me erase this. Right, so first we're going to say, we're going to put the identity symbol here. Okay, we're going to have 1 plus negative 2x minus 1 over x plus 1 squared. Right, so now this is the fraction we are going to decompose. All right, and one thing we should also take note of is that we have a linear denominator that is repeating. All right, a repeating linear denominator. Right, so go to our next step. So we're going to put our identity symbol here. We have 1 plus, right? So we're going to break this into 2 factors. All right, 2 factors. So whenever you're dealing with repeated linear denominators, all right, you write a lower factor with a lower power. All right, so we start with x plus 1. All right, do not make a mistake of writing here x plus 1 squared. No, you first write x plus 1, and then the second factor will be x plus 1 squared. Right, then we're going to put a and b. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do, okay, is we're going to multiply this whole expression with the common denominator. Right, so on this side I'm going to put x squared over x plus 1 squared. Okay, let me just put a bracket here. Put a bracket. So I'm going to multiply throughout with the common denominator, and that is x plus 1 squared. All right. So if you multiply x squared over x plus 1 squared times x plus 1 squared, this x plus 1 squared will cancel. All right. You just remain with an x squared on your left hand side. And then if we multiply 1 times x plus 1 squared, we're going to get x plus 1 squared. Right? We're going to get x plus 1 squared. Right? If we multiply a over x plus 1 times x plus 1 squared, x plus 1 squared will cancel each other out. All right, since this is to the power 2, we'll cancel 1 out. So we remain with a times x plus 1. All right, a times x plus 1. Right, and then finally, if we multiply b over x plus 1 squared times x plus 1 squared, right, the whole will cancel out the x plus 1 squared. All right, and this is what our expression reduces to. All right, we have x squared equals x plus 1 squared plus a x plus a times x plus 1 plus b. So now we want to find the values of a and b. All right, so if we substitute x with -1, right, we'll say when x equals -1, right, maybe let me put it in another color here. X equals -1, right? So we're going to substitute -1 for x in the expression there. So say when x equals -1, right? So we're going to have -1 squared here, right? -1 plus 1, that's 0. 0 squared, we get 0 here, all right? -1 plus 1, you get 0. 0 times a, you get 0, all right? And we remain with b, all right? So -1 squared equals 1. Therefore, b equals 1, all right? b equals 1, all right? Now, let's find our a value. So we're going to say when x equals 1, okay, when x equals 1, when x equals 1, right? Just set a dividing line here, right? We're going to have 1 squared here, right? 1 plus 1, that is 2, right? 2 squared, that is 4, right? Here we have 1 plus 1, that is 2. 2 times a, that is 2a, right? Plus 2a, right? And we already know our value for b, okay? So b is 1, so we substitute b for 1, right? Because we already found our value of b, so we substitute it for 1, right? So 1 squared equals 4 plus 1, that is 5, so we'll have 5. 1 squared equals 1. I don't know why I left this squared. Yes, 4 plus 1, that is 5. 5 plus 2a, right? We have 5 plus 2a, right? So we're going to take our 5 to the left hand side. So we're going to have 1 minus 5, okay, equals 2a. 1 minus 5, that is -4. Right, so to get the value of a, we divide both sides by 2, right, and a equals -2. A equals -2, right? So we can now rewrite our fraction, okay? Let me just find some space where to rewrite it. Okay, we can write our expression. All right. And we're going to say x squared over x plus 1 squared, okay, equals 1 minus, okay, we'll say first plus 1 plus a is -2, so we'll put -2 over x plus 1, plus b equals 1, so we have plus 1 over x plus 1 squared. All right. So this negative and positive, the negative gets rid of the positive. So we're going to have 1 minus, okay, 1 minus 2 over x plus 1 plus 1 over x plus 1 squared. So that is our answer.